expressed on this program are those of the host, guest, and callers, and are not necessarily those of KKNW, its management, or other advertisers. This is Alternative Talk 1150.
And this is my time.
Yeah, this is my town. Hey, where I was born, where I was raised, where I keep all my yesterdays, where I ran off 'cause I got mad and it came to blows with my old man.
Good morning. It's Nicole Mangina with Windermere Real Estate, and this is the 425 show. Thanks for tuning in today. It's your spot for everything real estate and lifestyle related in the 425. Because we all start with bedrooms and baths, but we all know it's about so much more than that. It is about the people, the businesses, the places, and the events that make the community that ultimately forms the backdrop of our lives. And I am so excited. We have Debbie Page here with us today.
I'm excited to be here too. Yay!
It feels like a reunion. I have not seen you in forever.
I know. It's been a long time.
I know. I stalk you on social media.
Well, that's what we do. It's like little tiny images, right?
Yes.
And then it's like, oh my God, you are a real person.
I know. Awesome.
It is awesome. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for being here. Debbie and I have known each other for, years now.
Mm-hmm.
We met through a women's networking organization that you were the leader of at the time. And
Correct.
You were phenomenal, by the way.
Thank you.
Debbie's my idol.
Aww.
In terms of, you want to know how to run a meeting and how to get people going in the right direction, Debbie is your gal.
There is a skill set in facilitating, like that, like it is not just standing at the front of the room with a microphone. There is a whole thing that has to happen.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, and you rocked it. So
Thank you.
I learned a lot from you during
Thank
that
you.
time. So thank you.
That.
But aside from that, you have a whole other business. You coach people, specifically entrepreneurs, on the finances of their business, which is a big deal.
It is a big deal. I have been on what I call an entrepreneurial odyssey for over 20 years. And like many people, am an accidental entrepreneur. I didn't wake up and go, hey, I think I want to start a business. It just sort of opportunities came to me, and I didn't know what to do. And I started surrounding myself with other people as I grew my businesses. And the thing that I recognized probably about 7-8 years ago was specifically women business owners, are driven by their passion and their purpose in their business, but they really were disconnected when it came to the profit.
Right.
And one of the things I knew how to do was keep more of the money I made. And I wanted to be able to teach that to other women business owners, because when as women, we have money, we change the world.
Yes.
Right? And whatever your world looks like, it can be your family world, it can be your neighborhood world, or the world, right? And I never want women to feel that they don't, quote unquote, have a head for numbers, because we all do.
Right.
It's just a matter of how we come to understand what are the necessary steps to grow a successful business.
Right. It's so funny, as you're talking, Jessica Butts, whom I
Yes.
know you know.
Yes.
She was on the show a couple weeks ago, and I can hear her in the back of my head because she was talking about the number, the letters with the Myers-Briggs.
Yes.
For the
right?
record, another all-star.
Yes.
She is an
Another,
all-star.
another all-star that stopped by.
Yes. Oh, my God. It's like the Hall of Fame. The 425 show is the
Right?
Hall of Fame. You heard it here. But, she was, I think I'm a P, right? And she's more of a driver, probably more of a numbers person. And I'm more of a P, which is, I forget the way she said it, but I thought, oh my gosh, if I ever got a tattoo, that's what it would be. It's kind of like the whole, it's all going to work out.
Right.
It's all good. And we tend to take that to our numbers in our business, and that's not really the right way to do it.
Yeah.
Right?
And, and the thing is, it's a learned skill.
Yeah.
Right? It's a learned skill, and we all have the capacity to learn how to run our business.
Right.
I've yet to meet a business owner here in the 425 or anywhere who said, yep, I went to school, got my MBA, and started a business.
Right.
That is
No.
not usually the way that it works out, right? so that's where I really plug in and show women in particular around the world what it takes to, either start, scale, or sell potentially the business that they have.
Right. I remember someone told me years ago, and I thought it was the best thing ever. Profitability, right? You expect it in a big corporation, like you obviously want your big corporation, but as an individual, oh, we got some fun feedback. As an individual, sometimes I think people, it's like you're almost embarrassed by your profitability, or you feel like you have to justify it. And I heard once that profitability is the cost of being in business tomorrow.
Yes.
Meaning, like, you kind of have to have it. It's an
Right.
essential part. You got to cover your hard costs, but if you don't have profitability, you cannot sustain your business, which means you can't help people going forward.
Right, exactly. And there's something out there too. Michael Ann Volterra, who is here in the Seattle area, one of the great thought leaders in terms of money, she talks about this idea of noble poverty. And women in particular, you know, are really wrapped in this idea of, you know, with some shame and some guilt around making money and making a lot of money and having that money, you know, and talking about it. Like, we just kind of want to keep it tucked away in the shadows, right? And then we get into this whole world of social media land where we see all these people talking about their 5-figure thises and their 6-figure that's. And, you know, and I always say to my clients, you know, there's more to the story there.
Oh, for sure.
Right? Because if you have a business that's generating, let's say, $100,000 a year in revenue, and you're not paying yourself,
right,
and you have no money in the bank, you don't have a 6-figure business. Like, there's a disconnect there. So then we get all wrapped up in our own shame of, oh God, well, look at her or him, like, they're doing so good and I must really suck. It's like, well, there's more to the story than just top line number.
For sure. And, you know, that is a conversation I have almost daily. I have it with my clients.
Yes.
You know, sellers specifically, right? You know, it's the whole, because we're often talking about, so what are you going to do to your house to sell it, right? And there are certain things you can do that make you more money. But then the question is, how much more money? How does it change your net, right? There's lots of things we can do to change your sales price, but only certain things actually change your net, which is the money you walk away with, right? So if you're spending more and making less, now we wasted not only your money, but your time. And then I also have that conversation with agents, because sometimes I, you know, coach agents as well. And there's, you know, as with any industry, but, you know, specifically in real estate, there's the whole, you know, are you kind of a solo practitioner or someone with an assistant, which is what I am, or do you grow this big team, right? There are agents out there that have these giant teams of people and therefore do lots more business. But what's the net at the end of the day? Sometimes the net, what you walk away with, is not that different, right? And there's no right or wrong answer. Some people are more wired to manage, in which case they probably do better with a big team because that's more of what they enjoy. For me, I really like that direct client interaction, and I feel like I've found my sweet spot of, you know, the amount of business I do, being able to stay connected with my clients, and then I'm always looking at, you know, what are my numbers at the end of the year? So again, no right or wrong, but it's interesting. Like you said, there's always more to that story. And usually we just see the surface outside stuff. And, you know, there's social media is great for lots of things, but oh my gosh, making us like spin out of control. It's got that thing mastered, right?
And what I love about what you just said too, Nicole, is that just even in real estate, so it would be easy for people to say, you know, okay, well, she's a real estate professional. But inside real estate, as you just said, there's so many different ways to build your business. Right. Sole practitioner, with an assistant, build a team. Like, there's different business models inside of any industry. And really it is for all of us who are entrepreneurs or bitten by the entrepreneurial bug, is to find what works for us and then make it work. Right. We don't have to be like anyone else out there. We get to do it our way, and surrounding ourselves with great people like you, whether we're buying houses or whether we're new real estate professionals wanting to get some coaching and guidance. There's always someone who's a little further down on the path than you that can help you out.
Exactly. Yeah, but to me, that is, again, I did not grow up wanting to be a real estate agent, right?
You didn't?
No, I have a degree in nutrition and a minor in chemistry. And I remember in college, somebody said only 2% of people use their degree. I thought, darn it, if I am here, I am using this thing. I just gave 4 years of my life to learn this stuff. I haven't used it a day in my life. No. Sure enough, I'm like tooling along. One of my girlfriends says, hey, you should be in real estate. I remember asking my dad, God bless him, I was so nervous. I'm like, God, you know, like I come from engineers and stuff like that. So this whole sales business owner thing it's different in my family, right? And I remember asking him, and he was so sweet. He's like, I don't know, try it. If you don't like it, quit. And it's like, yeah, it is the best advice. And at the time I was 23 years old, so it really was that. It was that simple. Yeah. But yeah, you kind of fall into it. But that was something that I just loved. I still remember as a new agent in my company, you go through this week of training, and they have different agents come in. And I can't even tell you what they taught, but what I could tell you is they were all so very different. And I thought that was so cool. I'm like, this is awesome. Yeah. I get to set it up my way. Yes. To, you know, for what works for me. And then I can find the clients that then resonate with that. And that was just a really like eye-opening experience.
Well, I love what your dad gave you as far as advice. My dad gave me some similar advice a number of times through my life. And I remember one time he asked me when I brought to him kind of the same sort of life question. And he said, what's the worst that would happen? And I sat there about the same age, 23, 24, going, well, I guess the worst that would happen is I would fail. And he said, no, the worst that would happen is you never tried.
Yes.
And you'd
I love
always
that.
wonder.
Oh,
And
dads are good.
Dads
for
are the
that
best, right?
stuff.
Hi, Dad. If you're watching, hi, Pop.
We love our dads.
But seriously, like, and I think of that, and I think of that for people in the community, like, you know, as business people or even corporate professional, like, the worst thing that happens is that we don't take those chances, that we just, we continue to be safe and small, and like, you're always going to wonder what if.
Yes.
Right? And I don't want people wondering what if anymore.
Yeah. And, you know, it doesn't work out. Yeah.
Oh, well.
It's really not that big of a deal.
No, it's really not. I was talking with a friend of mine as an example. We were talking, somehow we got on the conversation of Martha Stewart is now a judge on Chopped. And I love the show. So I love the Food Channel. Yeah. So now she's a judge on Chopped. And we were talk about reinvention. Like, this is a woman who, of epic proportions, like, built an empire, like, paid a huge price for a really horrible decision, and has reinvented herself, and she just keeps putting herself out there. And so I think, look, if Martha Stewart can do it, there's nothing the rest of us can't do. Like, don't go to jail. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm just saying, like, you can always reinvent yourself.
That's funny. I love that.
Yeah.
All right. So jail aside,
What
are some of the biggest financial, I don't know if they're mistakes or kind of hang-ups you see people have in their business when you're coaching them?
Yeah. So the ostrich syndrome.
Okay.
Keep your head in the sand. Things are going really, really good.
Yeah.
I don't need to pay attention to this. I'll look at it later.
Yes.
Things are not going really, really good. I'm not going to look at it because I do not want to know what is happening. So ostrich. So I really recommend that business owners calendar time every month, weekly, ideally, to really look at the data.
Yeah.
You know, the numbers are trying to tell you a story in your business. And what I always say about cash flow and profitability in particular is that they're symptoms, if they're not where you want them to be, they're symptoms of an upstream problem.
Sure.
Meaning that cash flow isn't the problem, it's the symptom, right? So then we go further up the trail and we look at, what are you doing for sales? What are your policies and procedures for follow-up? Like, what are your marketing initiatives? Oh, and by the way, what's your marketing plan, right? There's a lot of people doing marketing, but they don't have a plan for that marketing.
Which means it's start, stop. They think they're marketing all the time, and they're really doing like something once a month.
Right, and they're not measuring anything. You know, it's the, it's the person who says, I tried blogging. Well, how many times did you try blogging in your business? Well, I did it once and no one read it. Well, they're not gonna unless if you give it to them. Like, and that's the other thing we have to remember as business people is that information is coming to us in the world today at such a rapid pace.
Right.
That it is not what it was 10 years ago.
No.
So if we want our message and our marketing and our brand, if you're an individual solopreneur, you're a small business owner, you have to constantly be putting yourself out there. Then the counter to that is people say, yeah, but I don't want to be all spammy and blah, blah. Well, then don't be. Like, add value, right?
Yes.
Like, look, if you don't want to be spammy, then don't, right? Add value, have conversation with people. Yes. But just because you see everything you put out doesn't mean everyone else sees everything you put out.
Yes.
So you have to keep bringing it back to them.
Yeah. And I know the general rule of thumb in real estate, I'm assuming it's pretty similar in any businesses. Whatever you have or don't have going today is really a reflection of what you did 60 to 90 days ago.
Correct.
Right? Because there's a manifestation, germination, whatever the right word is, time frame to everything that you do. So, when you're doing great, that's awesome. And you just assume, and you're like, well, I haven't been doing anything and this business is showing up, but you did a lot.
You did.
And then conversely, when things aren't coming together and you feel like, gosh, I'm doing everything right.
Yes.
Well, that's great that you're doing it right today. That means you'll be busy and 60 to 90 days, but you're paying the price for what you didn't do.
Yeah.
And real estate is absolutely cash flow management.
Yeah.
Business.
And you get on this roller coaster, right? So if you're not constantly measuring what you're doing and being consistent about it, then, it's like cash flow is coming up. Yay.
Yes.
And then it's like, whoa, we didn't keep doing what we were doing. And you're going up and down and up and down. And, it's the thing that, what gets you busy will keep you busy.
For sure.
And so what you have to figure out is, how do I dial that in my business?
Right.
So somebody may have, as an example, in their small business, networking, attending events in
Right.
the community, whether they're 425 magazine events or whether they're BNI events or chamber events. So you may say that you're going to attend 6 of those a month.
Mhm.
And the reality is that as your business grows, you may not be able to get to 6 a month.
lot,
It
actually.
is a
Yeah.
lot, right? So you may go, okay, I'm going to go, I can't go to the chamber events every month, but I need to keep my presence there.
Right.
So I'm going to go every other month to the chamber. And then I'm going to go every other month to a 425 event or whatever, right? But you're still being visible. So
Right.
there's nothing worse than being out at an event and saying, hey, I haven't seen you in a long time. Where have you been? And somebody's like, oh my God, I've been so busy. And it's like, and now I don't have any clients. So here I am again. It's like, ooh, that kind of felt gross. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, I gotta go.
Right. So it's just, you have to stay consistent. And it's true, and I just thinking about what you said about, 60 and 90 days. When this weekend I put out my little Pages patch. So I planted my 2 tomatoes in my container and my zucchini and my lemon cucumber. We'll see how this turns out,
okay.
right?
You'll have to report back.
I will. I'll let you know in about 60 to 75 days.
Right.
Because it says on the little thing, like in 60 to 75 days, if you do this, you will start seeing the fruits of your, so that means watering and tending and making sure. And my first business coach said this. He says, Deb, he goes, growing your business is like growing a garden. It requires water and heat and light.
Right.
And you just have to keep putting all those things on your business, and your business will succeed. But if you don't water your garden, if you don't give it the heat and the light, it's just going to shrivel up and die.
Yeah.
So don't do that.
No. Dead business. Not good.
Dead business, not good.
But I think that's where having a coach really comes in, because all of the things we're talking about, I have had a coach really my whole time of my real estate career. You and I have worked on some things together because all the things we're talking about, it's easy for someone to sit there, and we all know that, you're not, what you're saying is it's not like a revelation, right?
No.
We all know this is important.
Absolutely.
But doing it is so totally different. And when you're in it, it's hard to see what you are really, truly doing or not doing. You almost have to have a coach to be consistent for any length of time.
Absolutely.
Because somebody else can see it long before you ever can. When it's your own stuff, you can always see it in somebody else. It's so obvious for other people, but it's so hard to see for yourself. And you are a master at that. Not only at seeing it, but because the delivery, your coach, how they deliver stuff matters.
Teeing this stuff up, because here's the thing, it's like
You're good at it.
Hitting someone between the eyes with a 2x4 is not really recommended, right? And so you have to be able,
a sensitive subject like money to begin with.
Exactly. So you have to be able to gently kind of pull things out of people and to get them to see it for themselves.
Yes.
And again, without the shame and the blame and the fear, and but to be able to do it in a really powerful way.
Yeah, it's a talent.
Thank you.
You are good at it.
Thank you.
What's something else that you see people, so the ostrich syndrome?
Yeah,
ostrich. That's number one.
Yeah, ostrich. And then the second thing is they're going to do everything themselves to save money.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I've been down that road. Yeah, it doesn't go well.
No, it doesn't go well. And so we'll start with this. For all of you listening, this is my great example. A bookkeeper, as an example. Unless if you are running a bookkeeping company, please stop doing your books. You are not qualified to do your books. You do not, that does not mean that you're abdicating responsibility to understanding your numbers, but your time is more valuable.
Right.
We can get you a great bookkeeper for $50, $75 an hour who can get done in half the time that you're spending doing it. And I'll have people say to me, yeah, but Deb, I do it on the weekends. It's like, wouldn't you rather be doing something else on the weekend other than matching receipts to your QuickBooks account? Because I know I do.
Right, for sure.
Right. This is not what I want to be doing. And maybe spend time with your family, walk your dog, go to a kid's baseball game.
Take a nap,
anything,
read a book, something.
So that's the other thing is people trick themselves into thinking they're saving money by doing everything themselves. And what's really happening is you're then fracturing your ability to do your job. So if you're going to work 40 hours a week, and you're spending 5 of them doing your books, that's 5 hours a week that you're not doing business development activities, servicing clients. And if you're a $100 an hour or $200 an hour professional, let's say even $100, there's $500 that you're not bringing in. A bookkeeper might cost you $100 a month, but I've just found you $2,000 in potential income and revenue in your business. And that's a big tension point for people.
It is. I know I had this, it was years ago. I was switching my blog platform from one to another. And, they're not it's not super technical, right? But so it's like, okay, I can do this myself, right? It's all, you can Google the answer and stuff. 6 weeks later, it's not done. I haven't blogged because now I don't know how because I'm like on 2 different platforms. I'm like, fine, I have to hire somebody. $50 and 30 minutes, and it was done. Like, I laughed out loud.
Yeah.
I thought that's the best money I've ever spent because now I'm back in business.
Yeah.
And oh my God, I can't believe I spent 6 weeks.
I know, trying to do that for $50, right?
$50.
I recently hired a virtual assistant company out of Arizona. It's a company called the Virtual A Team. Shout out.
Yay.
And so the gal who owns it, she has put together tiers of people who are experts in certain things. And I needed something figured out on Jotform because I'm doing this feature every week on local entrepreneurs.
Oh, cool.
And so you should apply.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's called the
Hopefully I make the cut.
Oh, you'll make the cut. So the deal is called truth telling from the trenches, right?
Okay.
And so I had thought
I've seen those. Those are great.
yeah. So what basically the premise is we are all more alike than we are different, and I wanted to do this on what I thought would be Google Forms, and I thought it'd be really easy. And so I had this gal, and they said no, actually it's not going to work. Bottom line is this: for $58 or something. They put together the whole thing. The gal researched this deal, came up with Jotform as the better alternative platform. I would have been farting around with that for like hours. Hours. Like, and I probably would have done it all the way in Google Forms first to only realize that it won't work if you don't have a Google account and da-da-da-da. And they took care of it. So listen, people, like, stop thinking you have to do everything yourselves. Just find other people to do it.
Yes, amen. You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah. Good stuff.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And you're Washington native.
I am.
You grew up in Wenatchee.
I did grow up in Wenatchee.
Which I love Wenatchee. As a baseball mom, I'm getting to know Wenatchee well. We have lots of tournaments over there.
Yeah.
They have the old market.
The Pybus Market. One of the
that place.
greatest things that ever happened to that town was that sort of now that they're redeveloping all the waterfront down there, and it started
really
with the
nice.
Parks and the Loop Trail, and it's beautiful. It's fun to go visit.
I've gone on many walks. I know all the little restaurants now in the market, depending on the time of day, and it's awesome. But what are some of your favorite 425 spots?
Oh my gosh!
Now you're a 425.
Yeah, I am a 425er. So I would say Mangina Park is one of my favorite parks. So I have a walking buddy every morning, and at the end of my walk, I take my dog Harley Hounderton, and we go to Mangina.
It's Sir Hounderton.
Sir Harley Hounderton.
Harley
Yes.
Hounderton.
And so Harley and I stop at Mangina Park because up until 9 a.m. it is a completely off-leash park.
Oh, awesome.
So we can take a lap around and he gets to sniff. And today we met 2 6-month-old golden retriever puppies.
Oh,
and
so cute.
So that's one of my favorite spots. One of my other favorite spots is the Cork and Tap at the QFC here in Bellevue.
What?
For grocery store happy hour. No joke, people.
I had no idea.
I am telling you. Yeah.
The one over by Nordstrom's?
The one that is up at close to Nordstrom there, up in that little bit by the Bartels. Yeah. So they have a place in there called the Cork and Tap, and they have a limited selection of beers on tap and wine and cider and kombucha, and they do happy hour every day. And here's the insider secret.
See you guys later.
All right.
Later. All right.
Oh my God, we're turning into this show just for that.
No one is going to go to the grocery store ever thinking the same thing. So here's the deal. So here's the other thing. So the money girl in me found this out. So after you buy so many drinks, I think it's like 5 drinks, in the Cork and Tap, you get a coupon for $10 off a grocery purchase.
No way.
Yeah. So every time you're buying a drink, you get like $2 credit, and then it shows up on your little frequent reward thing, and it says, "Do you want to use your $10 off?"
Why are we here right
now?
now?
Best tip of all time.
Grocery store happy hour. There's a couple women in my life who we will send up the bat signal, and it goes by text. It's like, hey, I need to stop at QFC for a couple of things this afternoon. It's like, what are you doing?
Right.
See you at 4:30.
So if Gary takes over the grocery shopping,
exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, Gary, we know where you are. So that's one of my other favorites. I think my favorite restaurant still is Monsoon on Old Main in
that
Bellevue.
Place. So pretty.
Yeah, it's
great food.
I love it because I have a lot of friends who are gluten-free and celiac, and their menu caters to that, which I really appreciate.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
And I love Bellevue Park because it's so beautiful. And this weekend with Memorial Day, all the flags were up, and I just think that's been a great investment in the community.
That's awesome. Very cool. Well, thanks for joining us today. So if people want to chat with you or work with you, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so best place to find me is in my online home, debbiepage.com, DEBBIEPAGE.com. And if you're a Facebook fan, I have a Facebook group called the Women's Business Profit Lab. You're part of that community.
Awesome.
And it's a great place to come and get daily inspiration and prompts and ideas to running a successful business. So
Perfect. I love it. And you have a webinar coming up
I do tomorrow. It's about the 8 reasons that cash flows off in your business. And so if you want more information about that, you can send me an email, debbie@debbiepage.com.
I love it. Yay. Well, and so we always finish with a little real estate tip, and it feels very apropos today because we're talking about home improvements that pay back.
Oh,
Right?
tell me more.
I know. So first of all, we're going to have this on the website, Nicole Mangina /podcast. We'll have all these stats. The ones that actually aren't on here, I think because this is more if you're staying in your house, carpet and paint. Hands down, the best money you can spend.
Really?
On your house. Yes.
And that's so funny because I think people think like, oh, I got it like new cabinets and countertops. And it's like carpet and just like the little freshening up.
Yeah, which don't cost a lot of money. Paint especially, minimal dollars. Huge difference.
It's kind of like ladies in lipstick.
It
like,
kind of
really?
is.
I don't need all new makeup, just a fresh lipstick.
Yeah, makes all the difference. That and a little landscaping. I bark. I call it. It's like the
beauty
duct.
bark.
Yeah, I know. It's the duct tape of landscaping. You can cover a lot with beauty bark.
That's awesome. Yes, you can.
Little bark, couple flowers. You're good to go.
That's so fun.
I know, right? But the other things, okay, kitchen remodels, 60 to 120%. See, this is what I mean, though. These return the most, like if you're going to live there long term. But if you're getting ready to sell your house, why would you remodel your kitchen if you're only going to get 60 cents on the dollar back? You will get more, but you're not going to net more, right? It's actually going to cost you money. Whereas carpet and paint actually give you more like $5 back for every dollar you spend, right? Huge. So remodeling the kitchen is always a good thing. Bathroom addition. I think more remodeling the bathroom, and then adding square footage can be good. Although I have that conversation with people a lot. Adding square footage is actually expensive, right? Usually by the time you add it and have gone through all that, sometimes you're better to just buy a different house because sometimes it can be a little quirky with the.
Well, I was going to say, and I would imagine in your business, like you see some like really good ideas that went really, really wrong.
Right. Or the funny part is you can tell when people have remodeled in stages, right? And then like whatever's in has changed over time. And there's like the kitchen from the 80s and the bathroom from the 90s.
Yes.
And, you know, maybe the fireplace was just done last
Thought
year.
you weren't going to say anything about my house. Thanks.
Oh.
Shit.
Oh, come on,
No, I'm
Benny.
just joking.
It's okay.
Oh, I'm sure
We
it's
love
lovely.
you.
I go with themes, okay?
You know,
I like
with
themes.
pulling a new paint color, it'll pull it all
Yeah,
together.
you're right, you're
Be
right.
back in business.
Take out the shag carpet.
I was just going to
Put some
say,
new
get rid of the
carpet.
shag, go with a low pile, you know, you're good.
Thanks. I'll invite you guys over when I do that.
Excellent.
All right.
Can't wait.
No, we're going to QFC. I don't want to go to
Oh,
ours
you're
anymore.
right. Okay, after that.
See you at
happy
QFC.
hour.
Yeah, after that.
All right. Jen and I are going to start having like business meetings.
Oh, yeah.
I know. I don't know if it's going to work for our numbers, but it's going to be a great meeting.
They also serve popcorn there, complimentary, which is really delicious.
Oh,
And they
cost
have a-
average. Okay,
yeah,
see, we're
and
back
they
in
have
the numbers
they have
game.
a popcorn machine. They do have a little limited menu, and so Murray's has the cheese counter there.
Okay.
And so you can order some food, and literally the guy from the Murray's cheese counter brings it into the restaurant.
Really?
You can bring
Nice.
food in there too.
Very nice.
All right. Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks for being here, Debbie.
I love it. Thanks so much for having me. This is great.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.